Okay, I would like to introduce Sandra Ellington, who has been a member of SEIU Local 1 for 20 years. She is an essential worker for the City of Cleveland at Hopkins International Airport and is an SEIU shop steward. She's also the executive chair at Local 1, representing any member in the City of Cleveland that is under a collective bargaining agreement. Thank you, Sandra, for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Um, well, I'm going to just start off my story. Um, I worked at Hopkins for 15 years, and I've been a janitor for 20. And during the pandemic, one of the hardest things is seeing the change, and I seen people and seeing your friends go out with the COVID. That was the scariest thing, and seeing like it being millions of people, thousands of people in the airport to seeing none, and having um friends call you and say, I have COVID. Could you pray for me? I don't want to die. I'm on a ventilator. Just, forgive me for anything I've ever done. That's like the hardest thing. Like somebody giving you their last testimony and you saying, no, you're going to be okay. It's all right. Talking to people who didn't want to come to work that day because they were afraid they weren't going to get it because people were still traveling through the airport. We still had to maintain the city um, airport. Uh, look, having a conversation, knowing people around you that were dying from it, seeing, getting on the train and it being like a ghost town. Like sometimes it's only two people on the train. You're like, it's like almost the end of the world. It's feeling like the end of the world. And like, you're grateful for that break. And you're like, okay, we can kind of do stuff, but not seeing anyone. When people, I think one of the heart wrenching things is the mental illness that you see around you because it's plain and simple from people being locked in and then being able to be out and just seeing that the homelessness really you see it, but then you really see it. Seeing people lose everything from having something to like having nothing. Like seeing a homeless person in the airport and it's like, well, who you waiting on the plane or you waiting on somebody's like, no. Um, I ran out of money and you just like shocked and you look at this person, you know, they don't look homeless. They look well put together. Having a conversation with the city and asking them, about essential pay for us or hazard pay and getting the silence is the hardest one of the things and explaining to people why is that process? How do you have that conversation? Myself catching it and not knowing, am I going to go to sleep and not being able to breathe? Will I be okay? Just the paranoia. And, that disease is like, you don't know. I just woke up one morning and I couldn't smell nor taste. And it was like the craziest thing. I was like, well, wait a minute, maybe it's just me. And then I went to spray something else. And then I went to my husband and I sprayed some perfume and he was like, I think it smells fine. And then I knew I had it and it was scary. It was like, they say something, you'll wake up and you'll just have a small symptom. Then one day you just can't breathe and being afraid of that and just, not being able to see my parents and, go talk to my mom and sit down and have coffee with her. That's just like, I haven't really had coffee with my mother since this has been out. Usually we would, she'd come over once a week or I go over there and sit and talk with her on the porch and not being able really to do that, doing everything at a distance, not being able to see your kids. They just drop things off at the porch when I had it. This disease is real. It's real. It's affecting millions of people. And we are still in the midst of it. And people are taking it so lightly. I clean for a living. When you're in the restaurant and you're cleaning, you're sanitizing, and people are not washing their hands properly or not leaving the restroom, not washing your hands. And I'm stopping them like, you can wash your hands. We're in the middle of a pandemic. When I see a crowd of people, I find myself, I get like, I don't know if it's PST or fear. I will stop and move out of the way because I'm afraid to be amongst all those people. But it's still my job, and still I have to brave a face and clean the restroom or get through or explain to folks when there's too many of them together. Like you still have to kind of be a part, and people looking at you, not thinking, not like kind of brushing you off, and you can't make them do it. You can't police them. You can just tell them, and it's scary. Know people that have had it and it still affects them to this day. It affects people's mental. Your breathing, it's just, you get fog brain. It's a lot. This disease is a horrible disease, and people are not taking it seriously. It has evolved to another stage, and people are just not, wear your mask, wash your hands, please be careful. Stop going to parties. I mean, if you're going to go somewhere, be social. I mean, we have to survive, and sometimes you want to get out, but socialize, just be social distance. Don't be all crowded together. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, for me, I don't ever want to get that again, because even after having it, I still get full grain. Sometimes I can eat something and it's fine the first day, and a couple of days later, I'll eat it, and it just tastes horrible. And it messes with you. So I'm asking everybody, just know, being an essential worker, every day we put our lives on the line so you guys can be safe. So if we're explaining something to you, we're not telling you what to do. We just want to live to see the next day because somebody loves us too.
Thank you, Sandra, because what you're saying is so important, and we need to make sure that we're thanking all of the essential workers, and especially our janitors who are out there and they're cleaning up after people. So we need to really think about what we're doing. And again, thank you so much for giving us your testimony, and please keep up the good fight.
Tell me about him.
He's a handsome young man who has a stylish way about wearing hats. Todd, may I yield the floor to you?
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
You hear me okay? All right. All right. Well, thank you for the compliment on the hat. And I got to tell you, folks, I love this town. Really, I do. Hey, come on. Now, people, don't you all want to go? Hey, come on. Everybody, let's go to my sweet, 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 sweet home in Cleveland, Ohio. It is my adopted hometown. Can't you see? There is no other place that I would rather be. Come on. Now, people, don't you all want to go to my sweet, sweet, sweet home, Cleveland, Ohio? Well, you know I came to Cleveland many years ago. Longer than I lived here, while the more I love the soul. Come on, everybody, let's go to my sweet home, Cleveland, Ohio. Come on, people, don't y'all want to go? It's so sweet right here in Cleveland, Ohio. Now, once the river caught fire, burned up a whole lot of stuff. But if you live in Cleveland, well, you got to be tough. Come on, people, don't you all want to go to my sweet, sweet home in Cleveland, Ohio? But it's the home of the Moondog Coronation Ball. That's why we got the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Oh, yes, we do. In our sweet home, Cleveland, Ohio. Come on, people, don't y'all wanna go right here at home in Cleveland, Ohio? look for the union label for the best music today, cause those union cats, you know, they really can play. Come on. I wanna go in our sweet home, Cleveland, Ohio. It's not the corporate buildings and the rich folks downtown. It's the people in the neighborhoods, the whole city around that make it sweet, so sweet that I love it so. Yes, I do. In my sweet home, Ohio. My sweet home, Cleveland, Ohio. I love this town. I really, really do.
That's
Nicely
Scott
done.
Smith. Thank you, brother. Very nice. This is the Cleveland Jobs with Justice Summer Celebration. We're still in a holding pattern. We're going to have downbeat at 7 o'clock to start this. We're having the Sue Brown Lifetime Achievement Award for Women in Labor. Our honoree tonight is Harriet Applegate. We have guest speakers from Workers United, SEIU, AFSCME, UFCW, Ohio Nurses Association, and La Conexión. An online raffle. Will you text 2021 summer, capital S, to 44321 and get in on the chance for 4 gift cards? 3 chances for $20, 1 chance for $10. And if that weren't enough, we're going to go back to Todd Smith for a song to bring us to the top of the hour. Todd, ready, go.
Oh, yeah. Here are some new words to an old song in honor of those very, very heroic teachers in West Virginia, who, in spite of the anti-union laws, knew they had to stand up for their rights and walk out. And not only did their walkout make their conditions better, it sparked walkouts in Oklahoma and Arizona. Well, down in West Virginia, what do I see? Thousands of striking teachers and their solidarity. Which side are you on? 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 Well, the law forbid the unions, but the law they did ignore. They knew that in this wicked world they get what you fight for. Which side are you on? 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 Well, solidarity forever was written in these hills. It moves the workers then, and today it moves us still. Which side are you on? 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 Now Mother Jones fought in those hills, and to the workers she did tell, pray for the dead, but for the living fight like hell. Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Oh, which side are you on? We've got to learn from our history, learn our lessons well. You get what you fight for, but you got to fight like hell. Which side are you on? Oh, which side are you on? Now which side are you on? Which side are you on? Now which side are you on? What happened to my MC? Well, I'll just sing the song. I don't know where you
Leonard, you were muted. Go ahead.
You missed all my best material. Thank you, Todd Smith, bringing us to the top of the hour with the classic Which Side Are You On? I think it's time to bring this award dinner to the beginning. Once again, welcome to the Cleveland Jobs with Justice Summer Celebration, where we are celebrating Harriet Applegate for receiving the Sue Brown Lifetime Achievement Award for Women in Labor. Would you please right now acknowledge Deb Klein from Cleveland Jobs with Justice? I also want to remind you that there is also an online raffle. Text 2021 Summer, capital S Summer, to 44321 for a chance to win 4 gift cards. 3 chances for $20, 1 chance for $10. And without further ado, let's get to our list of speakers this evening. Our very first speaker from Workers United, Rita Kinnards, works as an essential worker in housekeeping at the Intercontinental Hotel Suites. It's the facility at the Cleveland Clinic that is used to house doctors, nurses, and other staff that have contracted COVID during the pandemic's peak. Rita is one of the great frontline workers in organized labor. Would you please welcome, from Workers United, Rita Kinnards.
All right, start speaking. Hi, my name is Rita Kinnards. I work at Intercontinental Suites Hotel. What's the Oh, okay. I worked like a couple of years ago, when the pandemic started. We did house, people who contracted COVID. And what else would you like?
It's amazing to a lot of us who work in a lot of different fields, and how, whether it's retail, whether it's in the private sector where we deal with patrons of any kind. I know that in my field, in music and in fine arts in general, the prevention of having large groups gather during a pandemic. Talk a bit about the work that you did, and also the people you housed at the IHS, the medical staff, and how they reacted, please.
Okay, I'm a housekeeper in a Suites Hotel. I've been there for 25 years. I do lobby attendant, sometimes help out in rooms. A couple of years, like last year when the pandemic started, we shut down, and we housed a couple of some people that had contracted COVID. They was there, and a couple of doctors and nurses, which was too tired to even get back home. They stayed there at the hotel as well. The way we did the COVID, we had, like if they're there, for the 14-day stay, we put a chair by their room, and we deliver towels and stuff inside of a bag, and they can't come out or anything, but we leave the towels and stuff there by the bag. We leave them 2 bags. So the first bag is their towels and things. The second bag is the towels that they had used, the dirty towels they had used. What we do, we collect them all together. It's been very scary. It's a scary road to go through because you don't know a lot about it. It was a virus that attacked all of us. And we're here, glad we are here, for me to tell this story.
Likewise, I think all of us on this call feel indebted to the kind of work that you're doing. Also of the frontline medical workers who you were also working with, and also servicing them as well. It's just something that it looks like we're going to continue because of the variants. Could you speak a bit about that, Rita?
Well, we're trying to do all we can. I mean, we going through what we have to do at the hotel. You know, we're taking the positive steps, washing hands, 6 feet distance, masks. We have a lot of people that comes in don't like to wear masks, you know, but on the front of the hotel it says, you know, you're supposed to wear masks. I'm kind of stuck here.
No, that's good work. That's good information. I think that it's just wonderful to hear this kind of testimony. This is the kind of stuff that isn't really in the front lines in terms of news. We hear all about the political posturing and the one-upsmanship that happens in that arena, but the humility and the necessary work that you do in your industry should be commended. I do want to thank you for joining us, Rita. Would anybody like to acknowledge Rita or have anything for her? Now would be the time for that.
Thank you for your service.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rita.
Thank you.
Once again, this is Rita Kennards, who's a proud member of Workers United, who works as an essential worker at the Intercontinental Hotel Suites. Thank you for joining us this evening. Let's acknowledge Rita.
Thank you very much.
I'd just like to say thank you, Rita, and please stay safe.
Thank you. You as well.
Let's keep going. Let's hear some more testimony. Sandra Ellington is the next person on my list, a member of SEIU Local 1.
Leonard, Sandra is not on.
Sandra is not on, and we're going to go to the next person on my list, DJ Lockett, who's a member of AFSCME Local 1746, Las Vegas, born in Las Vegas, and her mother moved to Cleveland when she was a child. She is the owner of Life Products LLC, a small family-owned health and wellness company that provides sea moss in various forms. And we'd like to recognize her and ask her to testify. Are you there, DJ?
I am here. How are you today?
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm multitasking. I'm cooking dinner for my tribe. So, you know, I normally have better eye contact, but you know.
DJ is the mother to 5 and the grandmother to 1. So she's used to juggling things like that. She describes herself as a semi-satisfied essential worker of the county's Department of Job and Family Services, which has really been working overtime since the plague began. DJ, would you like to talk a little bit about the paces inside that county, that important work in that county department?
Would love to. At the beginning of the pandemic, we were given the option to work from home or not. I chose not to because I don't bring things that make me unhappy into my home. And plus, I have 4 children doing remote learning. Fighting for internet space with them would have been a nightmare. So I just opted to stay into the office. So it cost me money because now I had to pay for parking for the first time. Like I have to pay to come to work, which is crazy to me. But I will say that the amount of cases we got definitely increased. People who had never, ever, ever in their life thought they would ever need to experience public assistance were calling in horrified with the amount of benefits that are available. Like, yeah, you're eligible for $193. Well, how am I going to eat on $193? Well, you can coupon. So I have given countless people advice on how that the food stamps can be used. You can use coupons with your food stamps. I've let countless people know that you can purchase seeds to your favorite fruits and vegetables and plant your garden with your food stamps. You can get your Amazon Prime membership for $6 a month because you get food stamps. You don't have to spend it if you don't want to. It rolls over to the next month, but it's amazing how many people were unaware how little that the government does to actually help people in need. I can't hear you, sir.
There we are. You mentioned a few points that I want to go over. The first one is that you chose to go into work. One of the reasons is because you had remote learning going on in your home. So you can not only can you testify about being an employee and a worker during the pandemic, but also you can also give witness to the fact that these young charges that live with you are having a brand new way of learning in their formative years. Talk a bit about that in your household.
Well, I have 4 that were remote learning. I was an essential worker, and I was a 7th grade teacher, 6th grade teacher, 5th grade teacher, and 3rd grade teacher. I really failed at the teaching part, not gonna lie. The 7th grader and 5th grader did extremely well, straight A's. My 3rd grader and 6th grader need more in-person on hands things. And since I wasn't there to do it, and I kind of had cameras set up, so I would be like talking to a client and tell her, how did Trump put it? I wasn't so tethered to the truth at times, and I would tell them that I was having a system error, so I could parent a child remotely. It was a nightmare.
I can just imagine hearing it firsthand again. Is just absolutely remarkable. You also mentioned that at your place of employment, you were helping people navigate that system. How many do you think were in the same situation as you that had young adults in their formative years still learning remotely?
90% of my clients are parents of children who are in school trying to navigate through this whole situation. And really, it was a struggle to it. It was a struggle for everyone. Like I'm going to be honest with you, when the pandemic first started, what was it, March, May? I don't know. It's kind of a blur. And the governor closed down the schools. I called each and every one of my kids' teachers at that time at that time it was 6th grade, 5th grade, 4th grade, 2nd grade. I called all of the teachers. I said, listen, whatever grade they have in class is what they're going to have, because I can't do your job. They work 3rd shift now because at that time we didn't have a plan. I had to keep them up all night long while I slept, and they would sleep while I was at work. And then I would come home, wake them up, spend time. And they basically worked 3rd shift. They would put me to bed, and then I would get up, get ready for work, and then I would put them to bed. That way I knew my house wasn't going to burn down. And they had everything that they needed. It was one of those you do what you have to do type situations. It was a nightmare. When school went back in, though, we had a much better plan. We had our computers and things like that. It's just that some children need that face-to-face interaction with their friends, their educator, etc.
It's more than just having the technical support when you do remote learning. What's missing in education as well as in employment relationships is that face-to-face, one-on-one, and meeting together interaction that we haven't had. Isn't that true?
I agree.
DJ, thank you. Deb, I'm going to yield the floor to you. Any further thoughts here?
Actually, there are a couple people that are having an issue doing the texting. Make sure you're doing 44321. That's the text code, and then you put in 2021 summer. Maria, I got yours. I see you keep shaking your head, so I got yours.
Well, we're here listening to the testimony of DJ Lockett, proud member of AFSCME, essential worker, working for the county in jobs and Department of Jobs and Family Services, the important work for at-risk communities and people who do need our assistance. DJ, I want to thank you for joining us tonight and for giving that testimony. Does anybody on the call have anything for this heroine right now? Thank you, my dear.
Thank you, DJ, so much for all you do. I appreciate you so much. And I know all those clients at the county do as well. And Armin Buddhist may not appreciate you, but I'll let you know that I do.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And if any of you need some CMOS products, Life products, they help with your immune system. They help my daughter beat the COVID. So I stand by them.
This is Life Products, LLC. DJ
Yes.
Lockett is the owner. I'm going to spell it LYFEPRODUCTZ. It is a small family-owned health and wellness company that provides CMOS in various forms. Let's support our local homegrown businesses. Thank you, DJ. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Let's hear from one more speaker before we go to Todd for another song. Jim Stilson is with us, currently a member of UFCW Local 880, another essential worker, a Class A CDL truck driver from Harvest Sherwood Foods. This happens to be his last job, and he's getting ready to retire after decades in service. Jim is a union steward, and he has been diligently representing his members during this plague before as well. I'm going to yield the floor to Jim Stilson. Thank you for being here, brother.
Thank you very much. I wanted to thank Deb for inviting me to this, as well as my union rep, Nick Kachikar over at UFCW, for asking me to do this. When he asked me to speak about what it meant to me to be an essential worker, I really sat for a long time. I drive a truck for a living, so I have a lot of free time to be in the truck and think and work some things out. And the more I thought about it, maybe it sounds humble. I don't know. I never considered myself a hero, even though the sign out front on our fence in front of our terminal said heroes work here. I never thought of myself as some kind of special person. I woke up in January the same way I did in March, the same way I did in July, the same way I did yesterday and today. Going to do my job, deliver food to stores, and keep myself safe and keep the public safe by not crashing into them or letting them crash into me on the road. But the more I thought about it, when I was actually appointed my union steward in January of 2020. I went on vacation in February. Everything is wonderful. Went to Indians training camp. Was fantastic. We came back home, and in March, life changed. Everything changed. Being the new union steward, I was worried for the health and safety of all my drivers, and what can we do to make this better? How can we help everybody? And on April 14th, we lost a friend. One of my drivers, Levi Williams, passed away from COVID. That was tough to deal with. All of us were shocked. All of us were heartbroken. It was very difficult to go about what you had to do and try to focus. I was worried about myself. I was worried about my drivers. I was worried about my family. What could I bring home to them? And we found a way to deal with it. We found a way to plug and get through every single day. And then less than a year later, on January 3rd, we lost another one of our friends to COVID. This hasn't gone away yet. And it's still tough, and we still struggle with this. And I'm still not a hero. I'm still not anything other than just a truck driver, and I'm doing my job.
What,
Talking, I don't even, but we're talking about essential. And for me, sure, you can call me an essential worker. I went out and did my job. Sitting just to my left behind the door in that bedroom, staying out of the way, is my essential worker, my girlfriend. She was there for me every day. Like I had to be there every day at my job. She was there every day. When I had a bad day, I was very upset. I was at the edge of my physical and stress level being able to do it anymore. She was there to bring me down. She was there to calm me down. Every one of us who did this every day, no matter what we were doing, had somebody like that. We're getting recognized today as being essential workers, and I appreciate that. I want to make sure that we don't forget that for all of us that had to go to work every day, there was a whole team of people behind us that took care of us, that taught at home with the kids, that went and made sure everything was taken care of for us when we needed to have that support. We took care of our citizens and our friends and stuff around town and around the state doing our job, and they took care of us. And I want to make sure we recognize them.
I think that's a wonderful distinction, Jim. And I'm sure everybody appreciates that sentiment on this call. Your comments, it occurred to me that when you were explaining the work of your industry, that many of us may have had a first impression that this is a bit more isolated work than the testimony we heard before. Yet from those essential workers, yet at the same time, this is the first time we're hearing this evening of colleagues contracting COVID and then passing away. Talk a bit about that dichotomy and how much exposure do truck drivers have, as well as people who work in retail with the general public and in other service industries?
Yeah, well, for what we do specifically, other trucking companies and things, they might do things differently, but we're going into grocery stores every day. And the people that we were coming into contact with were coming into contact with the public each and every day. And you could isolate as much as possible. You could wear a mask, you could use the hand sanitizers, you could keep social distance, but these types of diseases have a way of finding a weakness and making sure that it exploits it. And it did. And two of my friends are gone now because of that, simply doing their job. And there's hundreds of others in my industry that have gone through the same thing. There are thousands of others around the state that have gone through that in varying industries. But at the same time, while I am grateful that I was able to be in this position to do this job, it was also very, very humbling to see all the other people that were out there, and it kind of kept you motivated. Like, I'm not out here by myself. There was a point in time we thought that's what we were going to be. At one point we were given this travel documents. We didn't know if they were going to shut the whole state down. I go home with this, panicking, going, am I going to get stopped in the morning and have to by a sheriff's office or a police department to say, why are you out on the road? What are you doing out here? Well, I'm essential. I have to get to work. That's kind of brings it back home a little bit. This is scary. And I'm just a truck driver. What do I know? I deliver food. I say hi to my friends at stores. It's a wonderful experience. And now I have to hear about people at the stores I delivered to that have had people pass away. Friends of mine that I work with that are sick, were out for weeks. Friends of mine that unfortunately passed away. Levi and Tony were great guys. I miss them terribly. But I know that they did what they loved to do, and they were driving every day just like we were. And sadly, they became a number.
I certainly appreciate the testimony. You are certainly an essential worker, you and all your colleagues. We have heard three remarkable individuals speaking about their individual jobs as essential workers. Now's our chance to recognize Jim one more time. Thank you, brother, for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Before we go on to hearing a little bit of music, Todd, get ready, get set. I want to remind everybody that we have a raffle, and you have to text 2021 Summer, capital SUMMER, to 44321 to purchase your tickets. 3 chances for $20, 1 chance for $10. Let's remember that at this Jobs with Justice Summer Celebration is for Harriet Applegate, who is the Sue Brown Lifetime Achievement Award winner for Women in Labor. But let's go back to hearing a little bit more music. Todd, are you ready, young man?
Oh, yeah.
Floor is yours.
All the testimony that we've all heard, it's so heroic and courageous, resourceful. Far too many people in the population, you're unsung heroes. So maybe tonight we should sing about it. You are heroes. Where would we be without you? Our unsung heroes. Today we'll sing about you. Day after day, you're always there, risking your lives, doing far more than you share. Well, you didn't stay at home, you did what needed to be done, and tonight it's time to thank you, each and every one. You are heroes. Where would we be without you? Our unsung heroes. Today we'll sing about you. In the hospitals and clinics, go to work each day. Regardless of dangers, you go in anyway, risking your own health and your family's too. Well, we all applaud your courage, and we sing this song to you. You are heroes. Where would we be without you? Our unsung heroes. Today we'll sing about you. There is no shelter in place in our grocery stores. Thousands of people go in and out those doors. There is no social distance in the aisles between the shelves, but you go to work regardless of the danger to yourselves. You are heroes. Where would we be without you? Our unsung heroes. Today we'll sing about you. You were never in it, fortune and fame. You never cared if anybody knew your name or of your work. It was never about you. Well, you did it because it was the right thing to do. You are heroes. Where would we be without you? Our unsung heroes. Today we sing about you. Our unsung heroes. Today we sing about you.
Todd Smith, singer-songwriter. For those of you who don't know Todd, I can testify he has the spirit of Mick Jagger and Rod Stewart all rolled into one. It's true. Let's keep going with more testimony, more incredible testimony from essential workers. I'd like to introduce next Renee Liston. Renee is a member of the Ohio Nurses Association. She graduated with honors from Stark State Nursing College. She has worked as an essential worker, as a registered nurse at the Cleveland Clinic, Akron General. And there she worked in the neuroscience unit for the past 6 years, which became the COVID unit when the plague began last spring. And because she's just who she is and needed a bit more action, she transferred to the emergency department, which is the only level 1 trauma center in the whole Cleveland Clinic enterprise. She has 3 grown children, and one of them is an RN in the emergency department as well. Here is Renee Liston. Sister, thanks for joining us.
Hi, nice to meet all of you. So, this COVID virus was a shock for everybody. As a nurse, you kind of know that there's a possibility you'll come into contact with a patient that has a deadly infection or a strange virus. But we also have, PPEs. We know how to protect ourselves, but we were not prepared for COVID-19 at all. Hearing the stories about the death rates and the overall lack of knowledge about the virus, it was terrifying. So as he said, my unit became the COVID unit in March 2020. All of us were very concerned about our families and about exposing, loved ones. I had one daughter that was still living at home, and I made her go live with her dad until I knew that, maybe she'd be a little safer that way. I isolated myself from everyone. There was nobody else in the home with me. And, I didn't go shopping. I didn't go anywhere. We got our first patient on our unit. I volunteered to take him because everybody was pretty freaked out. He was 94. He had been to a wedding in New York, and he came home and he tested positive. And I guess the entire wedding party was positive as well. It was a happy case. He managed to make it, but there was a whole lot more that did not. The hospital itself, they treated us well at the hospital. I can't complain about that. We didn't get the hazard pay, but they took care of us in other ways by having the community donated food for the nurses and other staff. And, if an employee got sick, the Cleveland Clinic would pay their wages when they were off sick, and it wouldn't count against them. It didn't go against their PTO or anything like that. So it was very, a lot of hospitals didn't do that. So there was a lot of isolation in the hospital from our floor. People didn't want to be around us. Like, they treated us as if we already had COVID-19. Some doctors would refuse to go into patients' rooms. They would call them on the phone instead. Or if they did go in, they would double or triple up their PPE trying to protect themselves. Originally, the CDC, they stated their guidelines for like the N95 masks that they were required in all COVID positive rooms. But when we had a shortage happen with the PPEs, everybody heard about that. CDC changed their guidelines so that way the hospitals could allow staff to go into the rooms without an N95 mask, just a regular mask. And they only wore the N95s if they had like high flow oxygen going. Conveniently enough, they've changed it back now that we have enough PPE. So now, we're supposed to wear N95s now. So, as a nurse, you see death. It's going to happen. But what we saw with COVID-19 and what we continue to see with COVID-19, it's nothing like we've experienced before. We've had patients that they look perfectly fine. They look healthy, but their oxygen levels are bad. They're low. And we had one patient, I'll call him John. He was doing really well. His oxygen he was on 2 liters. He was doing really good. And it seemed like he was, coming out of it and that they would discharge him soon. And in a matter of 2 hours, it just completely flipped. And seeing this man struggle to breathe, and he was a healthy person otherwise. And the doctors talked to him and he did not want to be intubated. And he asked the doctor, "Am I going to die tonight?" And the doctor said yes. It was awful. And we had iPads that we would take into patients' rooms because there was no family permitted to visit anyone in the hospital. And these patients, they're dying with no family members. So the nurses would take the iPads in and we would call their family and let them say goodbye. Sorry.
There's so much testimony we can unpack here. I want to, well, first of all, thank you for this testimony. The one thing that struck me is that we have a sense of understanding the isolation that can happen.
Right.
And all of us individually have shared that isolation during the plague on a personal level and at home. But you referenced for the first time isolation for alleged reasonable concerns from your colleagues.
Correct.
Which
Correct,
is
yeah.
which is something that's an additional level. I want to go back to that. How
Sure.
How did that come about, and is it still happening now?
There is requiring, like, you know, the social distancing still. But for our particular unit, it was, we had uniforms that we would wear. So it kind of highlighted who we were. And if we went downstairs to get anything to eat and we're wearing these clothes, people would know what unit we're from. They would make sure they didn't get on the elevators with us. On our floor, there was, at one point, they would limit how many people could be in the break room together. They tried to prevent us from sitting next to each other. You know, coworkers, we couldn't sit next to each other. You know, it was tough.
Serious testimony, not only about the physical dangers of this plague, but also the psychological factors that accompany this.
Right.
It's just utterly remarkable to hear this testimony. I'm staggered by it. You're one of the people who saves lives daily. Can honestly say that. We all do in our own way, and we all tend to overachieve personally in our own way. But Renee, you know, your close proximity to it deserves real attention and our appreciation.
Thank you.
Thank you for your work and your service. This is Renee Liston, please. Anybody has any thoughts or comments or good cheer for Renee? Thank you.
I would just like to say that you are indeed a hero, worthy of all the laurels that you are given, and hopefully more in the future.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I think it's a wonderful testimony to Renee's character that one of her children followed her into the profession. The kids are all right. We're in good hands because we have multiple generations of families like yours that give a damn about their community. Thank you, Renee. Right
Thank
on.
you.
Leonard,
Please, Deb.
Maria and Harriet have their hand raised.
And so they do.
So, Leonard, I wanted, in addition to thanking Renee for her very moving testimony, I wanted to ask her what her sense of, given that people in hospitals got so much exposure and saw so much death from the virus, what is her sense of why so many hospital personnel refuse to get vaccinated? Because it seems, you know, it's one thing if you're not, you know, there's this whole school of people who deny, and then there's another school of people who don't see the danger. But hospital workers saw all this death, and yet a very high proportion, not super high, but high given the situation, of hospital workers refuse a vaccination. I wonder if she could weigh in on why she thinks that is the case.
Thank you, Harriet. Renee, do you have any anonymous testimony about your colleagues?
I think there was a lot of skepticism in the very beginning about the vaccine because it came about very quickly. And, you know, being in the medical field, we know how medications work. And, you know, something that's FDA approved years later can be pulled from the market because, oops, we found out, something happened. But, we're all human beings and we all have our own personal beliefs. So regardless if we're in the medical field or not, if there's something that we don't want to do, we're not going to do it. I held off a little bit from getting the vaccine. When I did want to get vaccinated, it had been pulled from the hospital and I wound up having to get the vaccine from Walgreens. But I did get vaccinated and all of my family got vaccinated as well. And I encourage everybody to do it, just because this virus, it's not going away. It's not. It's going to be years.
Leonard, we have another hand raised, Maureen DeVito.
Please.
Thank you. Hi, Renee. I just wanted to say thank you and to all the service workers. What you do is incredible, and I am in utmost respect and awe of your work and your selflessness in going and putting your own life in danger, your own safety to take care of others. And there's so much more gratitude than you'll ever realize out in the community. So thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you for those sentiments, Maureen. Renee, bravo, my dear. Keep doing the good work that you're doing.
Thank you.
This is Renee Liston, please, from the Ohio Nurses Association. Thank you. I saw on the line before Beatrix Maya, who's the co-founder and executive director of La Conexión. Is Beatriz available?
Yes, she's here.
This is a grassroots community-based organization in Northwest Ohio region. It was established as a vehicle to empower the Latinx community and recent immigrant community to help with positive social change. And Maya has worked in her great career for the Farming Labor Organization Committee, and is an award winner for minority organizing and working on immigrant rights. Again, the executive director of La Conexión. Please welcome Sister Beatriz Maya.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you to Deb and Cleveland Job with Justice for the invitation. We are glad to be here to bring the testimony of some of the agricultural workers and other Latinx low-income workers and recent immigrants from Northwest Ohio. Those are our members. When the pandemic started and we went into lockdown March, we really felt that we gotta suspend, obviously, the door-to-door visits that we do with the workers, but we felt that it was very much needed that we continue in touch with our members. So we use phones. And we remain in touch with them. And we developed a little survey just to find out how people were doing at work, at home, children schooling, some basic questions. And out of those consultations, we learned a lot. And later on in the year, in 2020, we joined the Essential Ohio campaign, which is a part of Always Essential, a national campaign, looking at really enacting some sort of long-lasting changes for essential workers. And Cleveland Jobs with Justice is also a part of Essential Ohio, as well as Justice for Migrant Women, the Cincinnati Interfaith Worker Center, ABLE, and Policy Matters Ohio, and other groups. But as part of the work with Essential Ohio, we partner with Dr. Ann Galera and her team at Cleveland State University. And we expanded that idea and formalized that idea of survey the survey for essential workers as a tool to engage essential workers and for us to be engaged with the workers as well. So as of today, we interviewed about 150 essential workers. And this survey really highlighted once more some of the issues that are chronic, really, affecting essential workers or workers in general, I would say, and primarily low-income workers, the undocumented, and non-union workers, right, in particular. So the interviews are showing severe inadequacies in the areas of decent, affordable healthcare for all, including, of course, those who lack USA documentation, lack of hazard pay. One of our testimonies was talking about that. Inadequate or non-existent sick pay days, adequate child care for working families, mental health services, lack of voice in the workplaces, and fear of retaliation, right? So what I'm bringing today is I will read just summaries, short excerpts from these interviews to show some of these issues. One worker was talking about, one testimony is talking about the lack of basic benefits for undocumented essential workers, particularly unemployment, and what happened to these workers who really didn't have unemployment. So one worker said to me, my main concern was not to get sick. I was worried about the company closing. He works at a meat packing, by the way. So many people were left without jobs. Where would I work if I would lose my job? I don't have access to unemployment. So thinking about that possibility terrified me. I have 3 children at home, and my wife cannot work now because the 2 youngest children are very young. We can't afford childcare. How I was going to pay my bills. Another testimony is talking about the lack of voice in these workplaces. When she's a single mom, is a woman. When she was asked directly about whether or not she thought the company considered the opinion of the workers regarding the safety precautions to be implemented, she said definitely no. She expressed concerns, but she was dismissed by management. One day she had a female worker packing right next to her in the line. The lady was visibly sick. Our interviewee approached the supervisor so he could check on this lady and told him that she was feeling unsafe working right next to the sick person. The supervisor told her that that lady was fine, and he added, the whole COVID thing is a complot to get President Trump off his office. A few days after this incident, our interviewee felt sick while working. She got tested and she was positive. Another testimony talks about how workers were powerless and at the mercy of decisions taken by management. This worker works at a poultry farm, and she says, towards the fall in 2020, employees began to feel sick. The company would tell us, one of your co-workers is sick, but they would not say who or the area where the person was working. The company never told us who could have been exposed or asked exposed workers to isolate or quarantine. Another case, another testimony talking about a similar issue. It was not until October 2020 when the first worker got sick. He was sent home for 2 weeks. The company never told us if he had the virus. None of us quarantined. He came back on a Wednesday, and by Friday I was having symptoms. He and I worked next to each other in the same department. I had a fever, a headache, and body aches. The last testimony that I'm going to read, I have many, but for the sake of time, one last testimony talks about the lack of childcare and problems, challenges with children schooling when their parents are mandated to work. This is the case of a single mom who works in a vegetable packing plant. During COVID, she says, my children were going to school some days and working online some other days. I leave my home very early and cannot supervise them during the week. My son would not connect to the online classes from home. In addition, he fell sick and missed a week and a half of school. We received warnings from the school. The school later called me, and I tried to explain to them that I cannot be at home supervising them during school hours. They did not seem to understand my reality. They sent us to court for truancy. My son is now on probation. He needs to go periodically and take drug tests, and he's also seeing a probation officer. So these are some of the testimonies that we are collecting. I have many more that are really mind-blowing. So I'm glad for this time and for this opportunity to share.
Thank you, sister. Beatrice, my first reaction here is, well, it's two-pronged. One is the last things you were just saying is a common thread that we've been hearing not only tonight, but throughout this experience, is the plight of single mothers in terms of childcare, in terms of homeschooling, in terms of who they're responsible for and how to meet those needs, let alone the needs of the individual mother, right? Who is putting their children's needs before themselves, of course. The other thing that strikes very clearly in your testimony to me is the industries that you mentioned are some of the most renowned during the plague era for danger to the employees: meat packing, poultry farms, and knowing that you live and work in Northwest Ohio, that's predominantly where the immigration community works. Could you speak to that a bit more, please?
When you say the immigration community, you're talking about the workers or ICE?
The workers, that's correct.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that was actually one of the reasons why we formed La Conexión back in 2013, because we were looking at a population that was growing in the Northwest Ohio, and I'm talking in particular in the rural areas outside Toledo, outside the major cities. And but however, our community really was very powerless. We remain pretty marginalized and with no vehicle to really make any claims or any demands. And of course, this is a community that, because of the undocumented status, is lacking any type of benefits or any type of protections, and their situation at work is very sometimes. I mean, the reason why I'm reading these testimonies, and of course Deb knows about it, is because it's very hard for these workers to speak publicly. Not only for their undocumented status, but also for their vulnerability at work. Retaliation is an ever-present issue. So we're talking about a situation that really, it doesn't look like 21st century workers. All their workplaces are pretty much non-union, and I'm talking not only about harvesters, but I'm talking about people who work in nurseries, in dairy farms. We have a number of dairy farms in the area, and all the packing plants for vegetables and fruits in the area as well.
Leonard, if I could, when Beatrice and I first started to talk about tonight, she was looking for an undocumented worker, but because, as she said, most undocumented workers are so vulnerable. I mean, it just shows you how far we have to go, because we need to get these laws changed to protect the undocumented workers. And after Beatrice tried to get somebody, we just decided that she would be a great stand-in to be able to talk about the plight of the undocumented workers. So, thank you, Beatrice.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just, I'm in awe of the testimony. It also demonstrates to me how we're all interconnected. The meat packer, the poultry farmer, provides the food for the trucks to deliver the food, and on it goes. And we all need to stand together, and we all do on this call. Thank you, Beatrice. Thank you for joining us this evening.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Much. We're getting to the main event, everybody. But before we do that, I'm going to remind you to text 2021 summer, capital S on the summer, to 44321. And will you buy some more raffle tickets? 3 for $20, 1 for $10. There's 4 gift cards available. Text 2021 summer to 44321. Now, Deb, may I yield the floor to you to introduce our award winner this evening?
Sure. I'm at a loss of words for our award winner tonight. When we were talking about giving Harriet a special award, we needed to come up with somebody to name the award after, and that's Sue Brown. Sue unfortunately died a few years ago from pancreatic cancer, but was a champion of Cleveland Jobs with Justice and the labor movement. And you all will be getting a program tomorrow, so I hope that you will read her bio that was written by our award winner. And Harriet Applegate, she finally did it. She retired at the end of 2020. What a year to retire, Harriet. And so, Harriet not only was the executive secretary of the North Shore AFL-CIO, but she was also the labor co-chair of Cleveland Jobs with Justice. And I just want to also recognize, because I don't know if Harriet knows he's here, but Anton Farmby from California has joined us tonight. He was the first labor co-chair when I started with Cleveland Jobs with Justice. So thank you, Anton, for joining us tonight. But now for Harriet, as I said, I don't know what to say about Harriet, but she was so dedicated to both the labor movement and Cleveland Jobs with Justice. So with that, we are giving her a special award. We're doing this a little differently tonight because it's via Zoom, and I hope you can see that. Harriet, you will be receiving this in the mail. I will send this to you. And again, thank you for all of the work that you've done for the labor movement and for Cleveland Jobs with Justice.
Well, thank you so very much, Deb, and to you, Debbie, and to all of Jobs with Justice. I'm totally humbled by receiving this award, especially given that it's named after Sue Brown, who's got to be one of the biggest unsung hero in the labor movement that I think I've ever run across. She was totally one of a kind. She was the most giving, selfless person. She was unbelievable. She was, I think one of the things that characterized her most was that she she was so close to the people that she represented that they completely, I think one of the reasons the union did so well, especially at Hugo Boss and in other struggles, is because she was a true friend to the people that she represented. They completely trusted her, and that meant they completely trusted the union, and it made for really, really tight bonds between the union and all the workers, and that was especially true at Hugo Boss, and there was a great victory as a result directly of that. I think that real bond and that real trust that existed in that local, and Sue continued to do that in the other shops that she represented, and she also worked for the United Labor Agency and did a really wonderful job of running the UCAN program, the Union Community Action Program, and she carried those same traits of commitment and empathy and true friendship to everybody that she worked with, and it was just so tragic that she died so young, and I think she will always be remembered, always by the many people that she loved, and they returned that love to her. She was really a unique and wonderful person, and I think it's wonderful, Debbie, that you put an award in her name. I can't think of anybody more worthy than Sue Brown to have an award in her name. And it certainly, as the first recipient of this award, it certainly inspires me to try to do better. And she's a great model. I just have a few things that I wanted to say, given that I have this opportunity. And I guess I want to start by saying that activism has never been more important than it is today. We're facing threats that we never, ever imagined in our lifetimes we could be facing. And such threats call for, a lot of innovative thinking, innovative tactics, and it's certainly a strategy that is both short, medium, and all three, short, medium, and long term, to deal with this. And it's a kind of strategy that requires people to think outside the box and to do things they've never done and to imagine doing things that they never would do. And I think that's only going to increase in the coming years in our country. And I think the other thing that's really important, and I think Jobs with Justice is very, very well positioned to do this, is that we need to keep each other buoyed up, as in a buoy out in the sea. It's really tough times for people, especially when you think of people like Debbie and the people that are most active in Jobs with Justice. They're activists 24/7 all the time, and activists get tired. And activists get depressed. So I think it's really, really important that activists think about the importance of supporting each other and each other's work. And again, Jobs with Justice is a perfect vehicle for this kind of mutual support on the one hand, and also that enables everybody to continue their activism and not burn out, not faced with so many defeats and so few victories that they are able to keep going. So I'm hoping that Jobs with Justice will continue to do that kind of thing, and also continue to be mutually supportive of the work that everybody is doing, and certainly continue the great work that you're doing. And I want to also take a point of personal privilege to plug my favorite cause, which I'm sure most of you can predict will be addressing climate change. And I understand that Jobs with Justice may or may not get more involved in climate change work, but in the spirit of this mutual assistance among activists and activist organizations, I would exhort you to support those many groups, and I think there will be more, especially groups with young people in them, fighting this terrible fight. We just had a horrifically scary report that was released this Monday from the United Nations, saying things are much worse than we thought, and the window is closing. So I hope you, if Jobs with Justice could just put climate change, use it as a lens, not that you have to jump up and change course and do climate change work, but just kind of use it as a lens or a filter by which you can assess, what you want to do in the future, and also who you want to work with, and what other organizations you want to support and work with. So I would certainly be more than happy to help. You can call me anytime, especially I would love to be a liaison between Jobs of Justice and environmental organizations. I'd be more than happy to do that. But I really think you're doing wonderful work. Debbie is in particular doing wonderful work around immigration. And this is a wonderful organization, not only because of what it does, but also because of the important mutual support that it gives to people doing this very, very, very difficult work. So I applaud you, I laud your efforts, and thank you from the bottom of my heart for this wonderful award. Thank you.
That's our Madam Secretary, Harriet Applegate. Harriet, we thank you as well. Now's your chance, everybody. Harriet's on the floor. Who wants to say something to her?
Leonard, this is Dan
Just be a secret
O'Malley.
between the 32 of us on the call.
Dan wants to say something.
Please.
Leonard, I just want to express my sincere congratulations to Harriet, not only for everything she's done to deserve this award, but on a personal level for the example that she set for me and her long career in labor. And it is a shining example every day. And I had such affection for Sue Brown, and everything that Harriet said about her is true. And to have both their names in the same sentence as Harriet receives this award is so fitting.
Thank you, Brother Dan. I second those sentiments. Harriet, we've had a lot of fun together over the years. I think as my memory fades into dementia, I'll never forget how we would always laugh when we see each other. So thank you for the good cheer in my life that you've brought through all these years. Absolutely.
Hey, Harriet, this is Anton. I just wanted to. Hey, everybody. Hey, Maria, how are you? I just wanted to take opportunity just to first say it. I'm glad you retired. Well deserved, well overdue. You're a champion. You're a beast. Just a warrior for labor, and I was so glad to hear. That's what we work for. We work to get to that point. I was so happy for you, but I'm also extremely happy, just can congratulate you on the first Sue Brown award. I worked with Sue. I know Sue. She was a friend, labor warrior, and just an all-around great person. So I really want to congratulate you, and thanks, Jobs for Justice, for you being that first recipient of that award. And I had the fortunate opportunity to work with Harriet for a very long time, both with the Cleveland AFL and with Jobs for Justice, and I'm proud of the work that we did together. And even though you're retired, I know that spirit in you just can't stop the fight. So I just want to congratulate you and continue to push and all of the work around climate change that you can possibly muster, because we all need it. So my sister, congratulations, and for award well deserved, and the best of luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Anton. It's great to see you.
Hey, Harriet, it's Mark Milko. So congratulations. I had the pleasure of working with Sue for a lot of years, and good points on Hugo Boss, but I think her biggest thing with me was she ran Akron for us in Obama, and a lot of volunteers in 2008. And when he won, we went out to dinner after that, about 25 of us, and I'll never forget that. And I'm just glad you won the award, the Sue Brown Award, and thank you for all you've done for the labor movement. And enjoy your retirement.
Jeff and Karen, go ahead.
I just want to know, is Dan still on? Because I just want to say Harriet was the best boss I've ever worked for.
Yes,
His hand's
Karen,
off
I
now.
am still on.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, every now and then I will do something or screw something up, and Karen goes, this would never happen if Harriet were still here.
Yeah, right.
I miss you, Harriet.
You need a union rep, Karen. Let me know. It sounds like you may need one.
No, she has one. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry.
And I think Maria wanted to say something as well.
Yes, I wanted to say that I'm someone who was never a member of a union. I never worked a union job, but as a member of Americans for Democratic Action and trained in Pittsburgh, political activist, I'm a very strong supporter of unions. And I always really valued my dear friend Harriet here, who always welcomed me into union events and didn't treat me like an outsider. And I learned from her, and we still go out knocking on doors together, even though we complain about our aches and pains at our age. But Harriet's been a great friend, and so was Sue Brown. And I'm just so thrilled that Harriet is getting the Sue Brown Award today.
Congratulate all our winners. We want to thank everybody for coming this evening. Particularly, let's just go through it again. Our fine group at Cleveland Jobs with Justice, of course, Deb Klein, but also the executive committee members, Sarah Nolan Gonzalez, Larry Bressler, Mark Milko, Daniel J. O'Malley, and Maria Wilkinson. We want to thank Rita Kennard of Workers United. We want to thank DJ Lockett of AFSCME and Beatrice Maya of La Conexión, Jim Stilson of UFCW, Renee Liston of the Ohio Nurses Association. Thank you for that testimony. Thank you for the good trouble you get into. Thank you for doing things that make the rest of us want to get up every morning to do the things that we do in this industry. You're all to be honored. And of course, Harriet Applegate, our Sue Brown Lifetime Achievement Award winner for Women in Labor. How well deserved is that? Thank you for sharing your time with us. I'm going to yield the floor now to Deb for anything at all for closing comments, and then a song by Todd Smith. Deb.
I would just like to thank all of our sponsors. Tomorrow, please check your email because you will get a copy of the program book electronically. It'll also be on our website and it's going out on social media. So thank you to all of our sponsors. Thank you to all of you for attending. The essential workers that were here tonight are all going to get a copy of that survey that Beatrice was talking about. So please make sure you fill that out. I will send that to you tomorrow. So our essential workers, we want to hear from you. Again, thank you all for attending, and now we're gonna hear from Todd, correct?
Once again, center screen, please welcome songwriter Todd Smith.
Okay, I'm on power save mode, so I hope I don't peter out here. Here's a song that reflects Job with Justice history and two of the villains that used to show up at a lot of Jobs with Justice demonstrations and rallies. I listen to people that talk you song. Bots, nasty creatures wanna do us wrong. Better scare your rat and a big fat cat. They wanna starve the union people, bust their union down. We won't let them do it. No, we won't let them do it. No, we're gonna put those major beasts back in the dump where they belong. Use the cats and rats, now they don't get along. But these two are tight, just like Cheech and Chong. But they ain't making jokes as serious as can be. You're not a candle break our solidarity. We won't let them do it. No, we won't let them do it. No, we're gonna put those major beasts back in the dump where they belong. Fat cat eats scabby, just to keep him strong. It gives him spies and consultants. Do the people wrong? Oh, but we've got Scabby's number. We answer to the call that says injury to one. Why, it's an injury to all. We won't let him do it. No, no, we won't let him do it. No, no, we're gonna put those major beef back in the dump where they belong. So bye-bye, Scabby. So long, fat cat. See you later, alligators. Yeah, hit the road, Jack. Reprehensible rodent. Yeah, fat so feline. Time to pack your bags. Yeah, head on down the line. No, you ain't staying here. Time for you to go. You ain't staying here. Time to hit the road.